We now return to our Inara Commander series with the logbooks of Mack Winston, Season 2, Episode 2, When Justice is Gone, There's Always Force. Came Cal's voice from somewhere in the depths of the galley. Ultra, I need the kick, I replied. We were back at Harvestport after our sojourn in LHS 3447 with its side trip to deliver an aquarium full of endangered fish. Delivering the fish to the buyer had thankfully gone smoothly once we'd got rid of Customs Chief Richardson and his merry little band. We never did meet the buyer, but the deposit of 750,000 credits within minutes of making the drop did at least show he or she appreciated the swift and safe delivery of their hallucinogen-making fish. The return home had been uneventful, and now I was in the understated luxury of the William F. McCoy's living room, just taking a break and catching up with what had been going on while we'd been away. I flicked through the local news on the datapad. War in LP 772-71, read the first headline. The aristocrats of LP 772-71 have declared war against the East India Company. Cal, war's broken out. In LP 772-71, the aristocrats are apparently, I read the article a little longer, attacking the company, looking to eject us from the system.
Check for call-ups,
came the reply. It would be inevitable. The missions office would be full of requests for EIC combat missions. No doubt there would be an all-hands request. Cal returned bearing coffee and collapsed into the seat beside me, looking at the screen. Yeah, we've to report to the mission office as soon as possible, I said, handing him the datapad. The coffee was scalding and tasted awful, like a mix of engine oil and wood chippings. Reedquashian Ultra coffee was clearly an acquired taste, and I still hadn't acquired it. It did sharpen the mind. I could feel the effects in seconds. EIC Missions Office, Harvestport.
Glad to see you guys back. Come in,
beckoned Andrea Kruger, one of the missions officers at Harvestport. I liked her. I got on with her well, and she seemed pretty forgiving of my occasional errors in judgment. She always seemed to have a relaxed demeanor, even when things weren't going to plan. She'd been with the company for decades, yet her olive skin and dark hair didn't really show her real age, despite the stress you might expect from having to administer missions for dozens of recalcitrant and often arrogant pilots.
I think I have just the mission for you,
she said, looking down at the paperwork on her screen.
We need a transport in support of the war effort in LP 771-72. And it seems like you have quite a reputation for low observability missions.
Low observability missions? I inquired carefully.
Smuggling,
she explained with a hint of amusement. Ah, okay. Wondering where this was leading next.
Unfortunately, it's need to know, and regrettably, I'm deemed not need to know. So there's an urgent transport mission. They apparently need to make some modifications to your cargo bay, but that's all it says.
I gave Cal a sideways glance and looked back. Modifications?
No details, I'm afraid. But your clipper apparently is suitable. If you accept, the work can start immediately and will be ready within 2 hours.
And the pay?
100K. This is done for honor more than money, so don't try and haggle more money out of me,
she said, shooting a glance at Cal, who was about to say something. He obviously thought better of it. I passed my ident over the reader.
Very good. You'll be notified when your ship's ready. Don't go far. They'll want to launch within 30 minutes of the work being completed. You'll be briefed by the mission specialist assigned to the job,
she said, looking down.
Which is Captain Frank Smith.
Thank you, ma'am. We left the missions office and headed out to the canteen. Low observability deliveries, I muttered. They've got a euphemism for everything in that office. Meanwhile, conversation turned to the impending ascension ceremony in Sintani.
You still need to see a tailor, you know.
Yeah, I said, slightly resigned.
Don't grumble. Extra money we've got from the aquarium job will pay for a very nice outfit. You may even get to meet Torval herself, so you've got to look good. Trust me. Appearances mean everything at these big imperial ceremonies. I can tell you that firsthand.
Kinda nervous about the whole thing. I'm just a bit worried about making some tremendous faux pas and then having Oppenheimer murder me as a consequence.
Just be polite. Channel your imperial side.
Yeah, so you keep saying.
Really, relax a bit. It'll be a fantastic networking opportunity. There will be all sorts of big cheeses there. And if you get one or two of them to remember you for the right reasons, it'll open up some new doors.
Or slam them in my face if I make...
Faux pas, yeah.
We arrived in the canteen. It was busy and most of the tables were already full.
And you'll have to get a haircut,
Cal added with what I thought was a malevolent tone, but it could have just been the noise in the canteen.
You can hardly go with that unkempt mop, however sexy you may think it may be.
You'll be telling me I have to look like Denton Petraeus next, I said slightly sarcastically. It seemed to be lost on Cal.
That'd be a good starting point.
Fancy hairstyles and tailored suits. I never thought those things would ever happen to me when I left Azaban what seemed a lifetime ago. I might have hated Azaban, but it did somehow have a strange attachment to my heritage, and part of me resisted erasing that part of my identity. In the end, I didn't dwell on it long. There was curry to eat and a mission to run, whatever that mission would end up being.